This is the gold 1 month overview reading for the month of May 2023. It's currently April 10th, 2023, 2:46 p.m. Eastern Time. Gold at the time of this reading, the spot price for an ounce of gold is $2,001.40 USD. And the shuffle file that we're about to play for the May gold 1 month overview reading was created on March 23rd, 2023 at 12:33 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this file right here. All right, so the overall theme and behavior for the month of May, we have a sharp, it's a decline overall, and it looks like we either have a sharp drop or we have bearish price swings. It's crossed with some notable moves to the upside, like contrary to the decline. Behavior around the highest high, we probably see the highest high more than once, because we have a decline out of the highest high that offers an opportunity to open up a long position. So we probably come back to the high at least once. I'm thinking we probably see it 3 times. That's my sense, probably 3 times. And behavior around the lowest low, we have a resistance level near the lowest low. It might even be that our lowest low support was an old resistance that we came up against many times before and were unable to break through, like it stood out. Either that, or there's a resistance within close, it's close to where the lowest low forms. There's a resistance level on a multi-day chart, on a 1 month at least, that we bump up against many times and fail to break through. It'll be a strong resistance, in other words. The March reading for gold, I want to say, guys, not my best work. I had a lot of difficulty in March with my readings. There were quite a few that we nailed, like 100% just nailed, but there was also more than I would have liked to have seen that just weren't up to par. Gold was one of them. But with that said, my detail and accuracy still far outweighs that of any professional analyst that you would find. They wouldn't even attempt this detail, nor would they have accuracy in the high 90s. If they'd be lucky to see it in the 60s. All right, so on the first, there's a support level that can be relied upon. It looks like it's probably towards the cusp of the first second. It's highlighted, and then sideways rotation along key support and a sharp dip within that key support there on the second. Looks like there's a notable move higher, though, there towards the afternoon session on the second, after we have that revisiting of support. Quite a bit of volatility on the third. I'm advised to be cautious there. There's a trade opportunity on the second and a trade opportunity on the third, making a swing trade opportunity there. I'll talk about that in more detail in the paid version. Guys, if you're interested in the paid version, it's a really great way to support the channel. The way that you get the paid version is you go to our website, tarotfortraders.com. Under our services, Eso-Meta forecasts, you go down to monthly predictions, and you click on May. If you're looking for a May reading, and there's a drop down of all the different ones that we offer right now. Great way to support the channel. We definitely remember who you are. Feel free to shout on the lives, my friends. And thanks again for your support. We'll do our best to do a better job for you this time. Normally, our crappy readings are still pretty good. I'd say we were in the 70s on that last gold one, which is just far from adequate. So we'll do better this time. But quite a bit of volatility there on the third, and a trade opportunity in the midst of that. On the fourth, we have sideways rotation. Looks like off of a prominent trough. If you're interested in learning more about Eso-Meta analysis, which is the system of pattern recognition we utilize here, you can get the ebook on our website, Tarot for Traders. It's also on YouTube. It's also on Amazon and Kindle. It's on sale right now on our website for $33. All right, so on the 4th, out of a trough early in the day on the 4th, there's a period of sideways rotation along key support. On the 5th, we have another prominent trough towards the end of the day in a period of volatility that ends off of the cusp of, or on the cusp of the 5th and the 6th, a big move out of a trough, a month, like a 1 month kind of trough scale. Not the lowest low, but a prominent trough, taking us to a peak or crest that's overbought. Here towards the end of the day on the 6th, or like the cusp of the 6th, and we sell off pretty notably from that overbought crest or peak to another trough. Looks like in the morning of the 7th, out of which there's a big move to the upside, reaching for distant resistance. But then at the end of the day, like towards the end of the day on the 7th or on the cusp of the 7th, 8th, there's notable decline. It'll stand out on a multi-day chart. There's a cash out opportunity on the 8th. Fast sudden move higher on the 9th to a prominent peak or crest. We might see like near a highest high there, or it'll just be a significantly prominent peak. Most likely location of the highest highs here on the 17th, but I think we see it more than just here on the 17th. Which makes me feel like we've got pretty much more so bearish price swings here for May overall, but with ending with a lower price level. In any case, there's a fast sudden move higher on the 9th. It's either to a highest high, or if we're really far from a highest high, then likely what happens is we have a trough here at the end of the day on the 9th or on the 10th that actually is like a lowest low thus far. But there's an important cash out opportunity around the 8th and around the 10th, and with a fast sudden move higher in between and a trade opportunity in between. End of day on the 9th actually is decline, so fast sudden move higher, a lot going on here, 8th, 9th, 10th. Fast sudden move higher followed by another decline, so we have like a prominent trough, a prominent peak, and a prominent trough again between the 8th, 9th, 10th. On the 11th, we have a notable decline standing out on a 1 month scale, taking us into another trough early in the day on the 12th, and it looks like we either have Congress highlighted or there's a holding pattern here with a pop and drop. Looks like we probably end up higher towards the end of the day, but not substantially. And then on the 13th, we have sideways rotation that ends with a fast sudden move higher, taking us into a peak or crest that's probably a new local high thus far. Like after making that prominent low, the 14th is probably a new local high. We break through resistance momentarily, we'll stay above it momentarily, and then break back down to the same price level shortly thereafter. There's a trade in there, and we come to what might be a lowest low here on the 15th. I have a much stronger sense that the lowest low is here on the 26th, just based on the overall theme being bearish. But we might be bearish price swings, which means we could see the lowest low again there. And the other thing that makes me think maybe we're a little bit skewed here around the 15th through like the 20th. There might be too much going on to like representing just that few cards. We may have a lowest low here, but there's a highest high on the 17th. So a lowest low to a highest high within 3-day period. We would really have to have a pretty sideways market for that to really take place. It could happen. I just don't feel like that's what's going to happen. I feel pretty strongly that the highest high is here in the what do we say, like the week of the 17th through the 21st, like within there. We probably see the high twice. And if this 15th does end up being a lowest low, then I would say probably the high ends up being closer to the 20th than the 17th. But the strongest likelihood of the highest high is on the 17th. So there's a lot of conflicting data going on here. I'd be very cautious. And remember that the overall theme is to the downside. That's how I would, if I was trading on this information, I would always take into account that the overall theme is bearish price swings or a sharp drop. There might be moments where we have like a big move to the upside crossing against that decline, but the overall trend will be decline. That's the best way to read the overall information, my friends. Sorry, couldn't be more clear, but sometimes it's just not clear. On the 16th, we have a prominent crest. So likely what happens is we have like a lowest low or a significant trough here on the 15th, and then multiple, out of which there's multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance there between the 15th and the 16th. And after those failed attempts to break through the key resistance, which creates a prominent trough, there's a decline that increases with momentum moving forward in time. In that decline, it looks like probably continues here in the 17th, which is what makes me think that we might not have the high here on the 17th. We might actually have the high here on the 20th. Somewhere between the 17th and the 20th, it might be both, but it's really hard to determine. If we have a highest high on the 17th here, what'll happen is we'll decline off of that highest high pretty notably on a 1-month chart, and that decline will offer an opportunity to open up a long position to close at the highest high again there towards the rally completion on the 19th, 20th, before we have a sharp decline through key support. I think it's probably on the 20th. A lot of trade opportunity on the 17th and the 18th as well. The highest high is probably here on the 17th. That's my sense, and we might decline so far off of that highest high that we have opportunity to come back and pretty notably with these two big moves here, 18th and 19th, which are both to the upside. On the 19th, we really have the completion of, the sideways rotation, establishing support, then a big move higher, staying on a multi-day and establishing support again. It looks like that support doesn't hold, and we have a highest high or a prominent high before, on the 20th, before a sharp decline through key support on a multi-day. We established support on a multi-day again here on the 21st. A fake out, shakeout, or intentional some sort of misdirection using a technical analysis here on the 22nd, so be cautious of that. Looks like there's like a move to the upside followed by a decline there on the 22nd, and then on the 23rd we have another prominent high. If the 20th, the peak on the 20th doesn't end up being a highest high, it's lower than the 17th, and there's a good chance this 23rd ends up being another highest high. But I think probably it's just a prominent crest here on the 23rd. On the 29th, we're selling from near overbought territory through multiple support levels. On the 25th, we have sideways rotational on key support. A rise to meet the nearest critical resistance, and then we fall back down and continue rotating sideways along key support. A decline from a crest or peak. Lowest lows on the cusp. There's a decline through multiple support levels to a lowest low there on the cusp of the 25th, 26th. But there's a crest or peak towards the end of the day on the 26th. So my sense is the lowest low is probably closer to the 25th, 26th cusp. And then we have a U-shaped dip between the peak here towards the end of the day on the 26th and another peak here on the 27th. There's a U-shaped dip that takes place near the intersection of two perpendicular diagonal trend lines. Also a trade opportunity there as well. On the 28th, we decline to meet a key support level that we recently declined to meet once before, so probably the same decline, or same support level that we saw here around the 24th, 25th. On the 29th, we have a big move higher, standing out on a multi-day, taking us to a key technical price level on at least a year-to-date chart. We have a failed attempt to break through key resistance here on the 30th, followed by a decline through key support and a notable drop there on the 30th off of a prominent crest or peak at failed attempt to break through key resistance. And it's going to be like resistance that we tapped against, and then we establish support and we come back to break through the resistance. That's what it'll look like we're going to do, but it'll be a disappointment. Instead, we'll turn around and we'll decline pretty notably there early on the 30th. At some point, the decline that comes out of the crest on the 30th leads into the 31st, and then out of that decline, there's a big move from the bottom of the range to the top of the range to revisit another crest or peak. If we're close to highest highs, to the highest high price level around the 30th and 31st, if we're close to it here, in like the late 2020s, we might see it again. It depends on how narrow like this back and forth behavior is. If it's pretty wide, if we have like a big, like a really deep decline here on the 17th, a really deep decline on the 60s, but especially a really deep decline on the 17th off of a highest high, then there's less likelihood there's a highest high here. If it's a narrow channel back and forth going on here, then most likely we do see a highest high again here towards the end of the month. But my sense is these are just prominent crests. And then the sneak preview for the following month, we have a decision between two leaders that impacts gold, notably on like a year-to-date kind of scale. There's a prominent trough on a year-to-date kind of scale, and probably a holding pattern with a pop and drop in there. But we'll have to take a look at June, at the June one month to take a closer look. If somebody wanted to purchase the gold, order the 2023 1-year gold reading, we'd have more information to do that. But I'm not going to go backwards in time unless somebody orders it. I'm just going to move forward and do 1 years for 2024 at this point. I don't like to do readings that already are like partially done. But with that said, guys, remember to follow that rule of karma. You do so here on our website at the resources tab. The rule of karma is 5% of the profits back to the channel. Much appreciated to all of you angel investors, and bless your hearts for sending 5% of the profits forward to one of these charities as well, leaving you with plenty, which is 90% of the profits you wouldn't have made without this information to begin with. Make sure that you spend that money out of love. The universe will send it back to you tenfold from all directions, my friends. Stay tuned if you got the paid version. I'll see you on the next one.